Yo guys, welcome back to my video. If you haven't done already, please click the subscribe button, follow me across all my social media platforms. Links are in the description box below. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. We got KSI signing a new deal, or not a new deal, sort of a monumental deal, shall we say, with Wasserman Group and Team Sauerland to have all of the celebrity boxing under one big, or YouTube boxing as well, under one big umbrella, sort of like a UFC for YouTube boxing. For those of you guys who don't know who Wasserman are, they worked with the likes of George Groves in the past, and they also signed 3 British boxers. I don't know if you had a couple of other boxers. I think Race Ali and one more. For KSI, if you don't know who KSI is, get to know KSI. 20 million YouTube subscribers, been in the game for a hot minute. I've watched him actually for how long watched KSI for about since what, 2013, 2012, something along those lines. So wow, that's coming up to almost 10 years now. Wow. He used to do a lot of things with Rulam Sports, and he done a few videos with his brother.
Do you have any talent?
Yeah, I'm not so bad in football.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, rip one of your balls.
What?
Rip one of your balls and show us some tricks.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh shit! Fuck hell!
So what does this mean for celebrity boxing? This is coming after the YouTube event. Of course, unfortunately, his brother Deji lost. KSI was talking to his brother how the event was mismanaged with regards to Anderson Gibb as well. Anderson Gibb, who's another big YouTuber, he lost. Although he lost. He drew that fight, or on the day he drew that fight. However, it was clear and evident to see that he won this fight. And I'm going to touch upon this a little bit later on with regards to fight fixing, yeah, because that, bruv, is mad, yeah. Nevertheless, KSI, of course, saw how YouTube boxing has been going to big time promotions, etc., and decided, you know what, let's have it all under one big umbrella company. Let's all have it all under one roof, and have all the fights under one setting as well. So that will sort of take away, not take away, but that will sort of separate the elite boxers to the YouTube boxers and have them having their own separate entity. I don't know what that means for the likes of Jake Paul, however. So because Jake Paul, he's with Triller, he does his own thing, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Logan, the same thing, they do their own thing. But I think that Team Sauerland as well, they are, or reportedly, they are going to do Sky Sports shows. Of course, KSI box on Sky box on Sky Sports. You know how mad that is, fam? I would never have thought that 10 years ago, yeah, it would be boxing on. The first day, I wouldn't have thought it would have been boxing, but boxing on Sky Sports, Mazzoline, yeah. Anyway, that means that his brother and a lot of his friends that are boxers or delve into boxing cannot ever be mismanaged or have their fights fixed, etc. So that is some amazing news. What does that mean for the rest of the boxing community? Does this act as a competitor towards the boxing community? I don't think so. For me, with regards to YouTube boxing in general, and I know Logan Paul was talking about fighting the likes of Mike Tyson, etc. But with regards to this in particular, this is not a big, how do I say it? If boxing was all glossy and good, that will take the attention away from these guys. Let me give you an example. In football, we have the likes of Spencer Rowan, etc. Let me check my recording. Hold on. Oh, yeah, just check it, fam. Last week, fam. Yeah, I started babbling on. Yeah, didn't even start recording, fam. Literally, I almost punched up. But anyway, we move on. Boom. With regards to the likes of YouTube boxing and the relationship with that and actual boxing, I equate that to how football is with the Wembley Cup back in the day. For those of you guys who don't know, the Wembley Cup was a tournament, created and hosted by Spencer Rowan. For those of you guys who don't know, or want to search him up, and he invited his YouTube friends who are big on YouTube, and as well as that, he invited a few ex footballers to compete in sort of challenges, tournaments, and then on the final day compete in Wembley, where the two best teams from that tournament will play against each other in Wembley Stadium alongside some ex-professional footballers. Some of the likes clearly, I don't know who in particular who it was, the exact footballers. I think it was Edgar Davies. David Sidemen was definitely one of the, or David James, one of those two was part of them. But nevertheless, there was a few ex-footballers that were part of that event. Now that in itself did not take away from the football that was happening on the weekend, or the Premier League, or the FA Cup, or the Champions League, which is the highest competition in club football. It didn't take that light and shining armor away from that, due to the fact that that was so big in itself, and the entity was so large, and the interest was so big, that regardless that what these YouTubers were doing didn't hold no bearing and no amount of pulling power to draw that audience away. With boxing, unfortunately, it's not as big as football, which basically means that these YouTubers, their audience is to be very, very competitive to the actual boxing hardcore audience as well. Now, why are people right now hitting a brick wall with regards to boxing, or becoming casual fans and not actually becoming hardcore fans, or the people who like to watch fighting, they become UFC fans as opposed to boxing fans? Is for many, many different reasons. Number one, the perception or the promotion of boxing is that they always hugging, and it's not as lethal, not as a slugfest as the UFC. The UFC has different different art forms: kung fu, Muay Thai, karate, kickboxing, wrestling, you name it, from Gregori Jiu-Jitsu, bruv, you know the way they're all in that. So that draws eyes from people of that culture. Let's start off with that, cool. However, that UFC is done under one umbrella company. It's done under one guy who everything goes through, Dana White. Basically means that the fighters are not actually having to sit there and decide, oh, let's negotiate, let's bruv. As soon as Dana says, you, alright, cool, you versus you. If you win, you versus him. If he wins, then he versus, bruv. It's like that basically, yeah. And everyone, or not even that, but everybody is in one big ranking, yeah? Basically, it's from 1 to 100. Everyone's there, 1 to 100, cool. In order to get to number 1, you have to beat somebody above you. You can't beat somebody below you to get to number 1. Now, with boxing, believe it or not, it's crazy, isn't it? You could fight guys who are ranked 40, not 40, but you could fight against guys who are like ranked 10 to 15 repeatedly, and then get your world title shot. That's how bad it is. You don't actually fight, you don't actually step up and fight these top level guys, So that's where people turn their eyes away and decide, you know what, they look for other avenues. UFC, YouTube boxing comes. Lo and behold, Mayweather was rumoured to fight Logan Paul. Within 6 months, that fight's already announced. Not even within 6 months. Within, what was it, 2 months, the fight was signed, sealed, delivered, boom. Yeah, the fight date was scheduled, etc. The venue, boom, everything ready to go. Dana White, has been talking about, Dana White's been talking about Deontay Wilder for quite some time. Unfortunately, that fight didn't materialize, or hasn't materialized. Currently, Dillian White has no fight. Currently, Andy Ruiz has no fight. And Dillian White says that, and both of them say that they're going to knock each other out, etc. And the interest is there. I can guarantee you full well that fight's not going to happen this year. But I don't care what. Listen, the fight's, we're in July right now. Dillian White is going to take another fight around. He's supposed to take a fight around nowadays, to be fair. But he's going to take a fight maybe September time in America. And then I doubt they'll be able to negotiate a deal and get a date scheduled before the end of the year. So he's only fighting once this year, or twice against an easier negotiable opponent. That is the crux of it with boxing. Then you get the added fact that fighters or fights are rigged or fights are also fixed. Now, listen, guys. I watched a video with Charles. Is it William Farrell or Charles? One of those two. Yeah, a video on fight fixing. Yeah, let me tell you something, guys. Mafia in Boxing Part 2 will be dropping this week. What day is it today? Today's Tuesday. We'll be dropping this week, 100%. Mafia in Boxing Part 2 will be dropping this week. Listen, that video, if any video was the best one to make, was Mafia in Boxing, because it was, I had to get a few props, etc. But fam, listen, we're bringing that back this week. What I watched last week for like an hour, and then Anderson Gibb fight happened straight up, bruv. Listen, a lot of things have been making sense. I had that aha moment, yeah. You know when you're in school, yeah, and you get taught. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna get cancelled for this one, yeah. You've been taught. All right. I'm gonna say it, yeah, but I'm not actually gonna say the word. Okay, so you have to infer it. When you've been taught, Beck's education, yeah, replace the B with another word. You know, you get the gist. You get the gist. When I was taught that in school, I was thinking like, nah, babies are made in the baby factory. Oh, babies, 100% made in the baby factory, or you know, you can go there and it just like makes itself, basically. You know, it just forms itself randomly, and you know, it's Mother Nature that happens. Bruv, when I was taught what happens, fam, I went home, I said, fam, I've been told a lie, fam. Yeah, I've been told a lie. This whole time, I thought they come from the baby factory, or they just come from like, you know, eating too much food, you know. But man, I went home, started questioning what everyone's been teaching. This is one of those videos, yeah. And I went on a ramble, yeah, it's mad. That's one of those videos. We're releasing that sometime this week, but great congratulations to KSI on getting YouTube Boxing. I want to see him against Jake Paul. Is it too much to ask? Him against Jake Paul, good fight. I think a lot of people are classing Jake Paul as a favourite. I'm a KSI fan. I grew up on KSI, so you know, KSI is the guy that I look. He's the pinnacle for me in YouTube in general. He's like the pinnacle. Some people say other people PewDiePie, but he's the pinnacle for me. So he gets my full 100% support. Technically, I think Jake Paul's slightly ahead because he's had a lot more professional fights, but I don't know what KSI has been doing behind the scenes. So we're gonna have to look into that a bit more, and hopefully that fight gets materialized. But this is a great news for KSI fighting on, or not fighting, but started his whole realm, his whole like YouTube boxing sphere where he could put all of these fights, like the YouTube versus TikTok fights, under one umbrella. He could do, I don't know, he could, bro, you name it, he could do it. Okay, so big up KSI. Thank you very much for watching this video as well, guys. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button. Try to get to 1K as soon as possible. Well, peace, love, and prosperity, guys, and I'm gonna catch you guys in a bit. Peace.